Welcome everybody to season 2, episode 5 of our Stu and Coco podcast. And specifically, as you know, we are doing our Inspirational Business Leader Awards running up to Christmas. I'd like to welcome Dave Westwood, owner of Make One Construction. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Hi.
Hey. I wore my sunny jumper today to beat back the weather, right? And my man flu, which definitely isn't coronavirus. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a little bit more about Make One. It's had a recent change of brand. You've bought the business. We'd like to talk to our listeners a little bit more about that and make them aware of an exciting story about a new co in such challenging times, which in itself is inspirational, number one. I think also we're obviously going to talk about your proposed charity and why. We're going to talk about who your inspirational business leader is and again and why. But I think probably the best place to start, Dave, is more about you and Make One. Tell us the story.
Okay, so I'm a 51-year-old chartered builder, married, children, grandchildren, and I've been in construction all my working life. And I joined OD Group 5 years ago. I was MD of OD Projects, which was one of the companies within the group. And after 5 years with OD Group, I agreed a management buyout of OD Projects.
Fantastic.
Which was the original company that was formed 16 years ago. So I've completed that management buyout at the end of July. And part of the arrangement was a rebrand and a rename, because the guys are carrying on with OD Group, focusing on office fit out, which is their sort of core business. Yeah. So they're carrying on as OD Group, which is great, and we're all good friends, and they're doing their thing and I'm doing mine. There's no conflict, so that's all lovely. But I agreed. We needed to rebrand and make sure that there was no confusion about the name. But just going back on the actual date of the management buyout was 31st of July, and at 11:13 p.m. I got a message from my lawyer saying, "Congratulations, you've just completed on your management buyout."
31st of July.
31st of July, 11:13 p.m. And then about half hour later, we got a phone call from Hayley's daughter to say, "Congratulations, I've just had a baby girl, you've got a granddaughter." And we said, "What time was that?" And she said, 11:13 p.m. So,
That's fortuitous.
There's got to be an omen, hasn't it?
Got to be an omen.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
New birth.
So,
I'm not being funny. What are the chances of that happening?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, both were overdue. So neither of them were planned to happen on that day. Hey?
But well worth the wait.
Definitely, yeah. So I think it's got to be a good omen, surely. So the choice of name of the company, Make One. Just explain a little bit about that. That goes back to I'll expand a bit more when we talk about the inspirational leader. But Make One is a sort of describes a philosophy or a way of working, and there's a saying that lots of people will know. I either find a way or I make one. At some point in time, I obviously now I realise that it was something that was said several hundred years ago by Hannibal when he was told he wasn't going to be able to be out. That's it. So he was going to find a way or make one, and that's where it came from. I actually, for many years, just thought it was like a special forces saying where, if there wasn't a door in the wall, they'd blow a hole in the wall. They were going to get, one way or another, they're going to find a way to make one. And that determination and that not taking no for an answer is what the name Make One means to me. And hopefully that over time people will understand that's what they would be invested in if a customer employed Make One. That's what they invest in, and that philosophy and that approach to work.
And is it fair to say, Dave, in terms of your philosophy, as we've just said, it is find a way to make it happen or make one. It is a can-do, positive approach to problem solving. But tell us more about the core markets. Where do you operate as a management contractor? Okay, so
part of the management buyout was actually 3 companies, a holdings company, and then there was OD Projects, which is now Make One London, and OD Construct, which is now Make One Construct. And those 2 companies cover two separate sort of offerings. London, Make One London is a specialist in listed buildings and prime residential work, which probably people who do, who have known OD Projects in the past, a lot of people would know us as being a prime resi specialist. And naturally, a lot of London prime resi is in listed buildings anyway, so the two sort of go hand in hand. But Make One Construct, we formed that just over a year ago, and that is more of a traditional contracting business, where we'll do residential for developers, not necessarily prime resi, but cut and carve, refurbs, and apply all the skills that we have within OD Projects. So basements, facade retentions, those kind of things, but not necessarily in prime resi or that kind of market.
Or listed buildings.
So for example, we're just entering into a PCSA on a head office for a company in Farringdon, where we're doing some demo, facade retention, and then creating office space for their sort of their own company, not to let. So that's traditional construction, but applying some of the skills that we've picked up along the way in the prime resi market. So there's 2 sort of distinct businesses there. One's traditional contracting, refurb contracting, and the other is prime resi and listed buildings. But no doubt there'll be a bit of sort of cross-fertilisation along the way, especially with the management team. But that we just wanted to try and make sure that there was no confusion about what business what we do or don't do and what.
So hence the differentiation of the brand.
Correct.
So I think we're clear on that, which is good. Can we move on, Dave, to your charity of choice? Who's your charity of choice and why?
It's a personal choice, really. It's because my mum has been on dialysis for getting on probably 15 years now. So
wow. She
did have a little bit of time off of it, where she sort of controlled her diet and managed to get herself off of it for about a 5-year break. But Southend Hospital, their renal unit has been phenomenal. The way they've looked after her has been exceptional. And through this sort of COVID sort of months, people like my mum with kidney trouble are super duper high risk, and these staff in the Southend renal unit have been so good. I don't know what to say really. It's just that they've looked after my mum, and they're the people I want to say thank you to. But perhaps at the time I did a little bit of research on charities and things like that, and I couldn't help but want to nominate the Southend renal unit. But for the business going forward, I think we're going to align ourselves with Crash, which is the construction industry's hopefully one of your other guests will nominate Crash. But I think for Make One, we will in future align ourselves with Crash because it's a worthy cause. Yeah.
So in the short term, if you were to win the Inspirational Business Leader Award, the £1,000 from us will be going to Southend Hospital Renal Unit. You're not obviously playing on the big Essex boat. Big Essex construction boat. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. And it's personal and it's touching, and why not? So I guess it brings us on to who is your nomination for Inspirational Business Leader and why?
Well, I've just got some notes here. Let me have a look at my little notes. So hopefully I won't need to refer to them, but it's nice to have them, and just in case, got to be prepared, isn't it? So the person I want to nominate, and it's an easy choice, is Peter Heath. Peter's my construction director, and Peter and I go back, before we worked together at OD, we also worked together at a company called FWA. Peter's an inspiration to me as well. I'm not saying he's an inspirational leader of the guys, and he inspires me. And he's an inspiration behind the name of the company. I think Peter embodies what I was trying to describe as a find a way or make a way kind of approach. That's Peter all over, and that's what if I hope the guys are inspired by Peter. I believe they are, and if they're not, they should be, because he's clients love Peter. They trust Peter for a reason, because he puts the job first, and then if he makes the job a success, they're happy. If he makes the job a success, I'm happy. It's probably going to make money. It's probably going to be, just if you just make the job successful, all the other things flow from it anyway.
Yeah.
And he may break every rule in our book, when it comes to you've got the office bureaucrats who need forms filled out and boxes ticked and all that kind of stuff, which is fair enough, and it's necessary running the business. But if those rules are getting in the way, Peter will trample all over them and get the job done. And somebody else can tidy up the paperwork after him because it needs to be done. That's fine.
Yeah.
But he will put the job first, and he recognises that a business is nothing unless you're producing something and you're getting turnover, and turnover is generating a contribution to running the business. And the business won't survive on extension of time letters. The business will survive on getting production. I think the Peter way is the right way. Don't just sit behind an extension of time letter and think it's not my problem, because it's all our problem. We need to find a solution, help the client. And one of the other things I learned from Peter, it's Peter's saying, is you always got to help the client, but he always needs to know he's being helped. And
we have to illustrate that, don't we? We have to illustrate that value.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I can't think of a client that doesn't recognise the value in Peter's approach. He helps me win work, and he helps me win repeat business.
Yeah.
Because people buy into that. And I need Peter's one of our sort of more experienced members of the team.
He has 40 years experience, doesn't he, Dave?
Yeah, and a few more maybe. Yeah. He started out as a stonemason. He's worked his way through all the ranks, and he's been there and done it. He's been developer sort of like client side, so he appreciates how a client thinks and what their needs are. So I want my sort of next generation of senior management to be inspired and take the Peter way. I'm not saying throw procedures in the bin or anything like that. I'm not saying that we don't believe in those kind of things, but I believe in find a solution, and we can tidy up the paperwork afterwards.
Yes.
You've got to find a solution and get it done, and that's what clients I believe our clients sort of buy into. An example, I'll probably rabbiting on now, but an example I was thinking of, or two examples, is when Peter was a developer, his joinery contractor was letting him down, and he couldn't do anything. There was nothing he could do to get them to prioritise his job over everybody else. So he went to his shareholders, and his proposal was, we buy the joinery company. I don't know anyone else who would even think
contemplate that.
Yeah, but Peter did, and that's exactly what they did. And if we've got a product or a material that's overseas, and you're getting all the excuses about transport or this, that, and the other, Peter will put someone in a van, no problem. They'll be in a van tomorrow. They'll be driving over to France or Italy or wherever the bit of product is, and he'll go and pick it up, and he won't take no for an answer. And that's that's what I want my guys to all be inspired to do. And they're just a couple of examples of why I think Peter is an inspirational person. And it, not those kind of examples weren't necessarily examples of during the COVID time. And I know that you said in your invitation to me, an inspirational leader who's perhaps done something inspiring this year in these kind of times. So probably just to focus on that for a second. We as a group, I was part of the group at that time, the OD group. We as a group all had various views on what to do at the start of this COVID.
Okay.
And do we shut the sites? Don't we? Do we temporarily shut them? What do we do? Do we carry on working and muddle through and risk, putting people's health at risk? And we had all sorts of dilemmas and views. But we collectively agreed, let's shut the jobs down temporarily, take stock, get our procedures tidied up, and get back to work as quick as we can. And Peter, with the help of Ollie, our PM over at Coco, and various other people, not just those two guys, put together procedures that were robust and good enough for the whole group to get back to work. And we pretty much had 3 days out of action, and then by the 4th day, Peter had the asbestos boys on site, so they're used to working in a hazardous environment. Yeah, so they just put their suits on and got to work. But we reshuffled the program. We put the asbestos lads in out of sequence so that they could keep the job moving. And by the time they'd done their asbestos removal a week later, we were up and running. And that was Peter and Nolly largely. But they found a way. They didn't wait for the construction industry set of rules to come out. They were a week ahead of them. We were back to work, and the procedures that they come up with were pretty much identical to what the construction industry.
Yes.
Was it CITB?
The CITB ended up being standard. Yeah.
Yeah. They were ahead of them, and they weren't waiting for somebody else to tell us what to do. The HSE were nowhere to be seen. The IOB were nowhere to be seen. All of these people that we contribute to were nowhere to be seen. And people like Peter went ahead and with his team of professional guys, found a way. And I'm very proud of them. All of them.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, Make One, and well done, Peter Heath. So
yeah. To be honest.
Yeah,
sorry, mate. Yeah,
and I think like you said, Dave. For me, it's inspirational. Whether it's during this period or previously, but certainly during this period, you've got a chap with 40 years' experience, right? Who is still thought leading. He's still dynamic. He's still in the process of forming and creating policy, and I think that's an inspiration for all of us, right? But yeah, so just to pick up on a couple of the salient points, obviously, well done to Peter Heath, who is your nomination for Inspirational Business Leader Award. If Make One was to win the award, that £1,000 would be going to Southend Hospital Renal Unit.
Correct. Yeah.
And Dave, listen, thank you for all of your time. Best wishes to Peter, and good luck to Make One during these trying times. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, mate. Catch you later.